This is a lecture that I'm creating for Saybrook faculty that are interested in developing a podcast or video lecture for the course we're developing on the foundations and critique of contemporary psychology. We also may want to use this in some other classes. This is just real brief, just to kind of give a sample of what these are like and how to do them. If you need more information, I can find a time to talk with you on the phone, or we can find someone else at Saybrook that may be able to help you with this. You'll want to decide whether you want to do a podcast or a video lecture. The podcast is basically it's just an audio recording, whereas a video lecture is going to be a recording, most likely of your screen, with the PowerPoint slides like what I'm doing here. This is what you're watching right now would be a video lecture. If you're doing a podcast, I would encourage you to consider creating a PowerPoint or Keynote, but this is a suggestion, not a requirement. Some students like to follow along with that. Others won't. There will be some that will likely listen to the podcast while driving to and from work or going for walks, and they won't be able to watch the slides. But it's nice to have them for the students that do want to use them. And then you need to find something to record your podcast. It needs to be digitally recorded is really the only major thing to consider there. There are computer-based programs that you can find for free or cheap that will record in a digital format, or you can buy a little digital recorder where you can record what you're saying and then just download it to the computer. If you use the video or digital recorder, just make sure that it's one where you can download it to your computer. Most of them you can. However, I did purchase one time that you couldn't download to your computer, so it ended up being one I couldn't really use for what I had intended to use it. But there's also ones that will just record right onto your computer, which is very easy. Then you record your lecture, and I'll talk in just a second about how to get that to me then. If you're doing the video lecture, you just need to select and install some software if you don't have any. One option is Camtasia. And if you're thinking about doing this on a regular basis for your classes or using it elsewhere, I would suggest getting something such as Camtasia. That there are some free record your screen softwares and cheap record your screen softwares for both Mac and PC, which you can just search for Macs in the App Store, or for PCs, just search online and download and install, and they work. My experience has been they're not as reliable. I've had them often shut down in the middle of a lecture and different things, so I've started using Camtasia now because it's just a little bit more reliable. So once you have that and you install that, then you can include a video or screen recording. You just set up so that you have the camera if you want to use the video also. With the one that I'm doing, you'll also see the video of me on there, which can be nice. I think it adds a little bit of a personal touch to it. However, you could just record the screen too and so it'd basically be the same thing as what I'm doing now, except you wouldn't have that little photo down there in the corner. And then you can use the PowerPoint or Keynote slides again and follow along like what I'm doing here, and you just record your lecture and going through. So it's once you have the software, it's really a fairly easy process. Some tips: try and keep your energy up. That's a little difficult for me right now. I'm doing this at about 5 o'clock in the morning to try and do it before my sons are up, because of the third point here. Try and do it at a time that protects against distractions or interruptions while you're recording. And then don't expect to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes in these. I've done, when I first started doing these, I'd often record them 7-8 times because there was just one little part where I fumbled a little bit and didn't have it as fluid as I wanted, and eventually just learned that those aren't going to make too much of a difference. We have those in class, pretty much any presentation that we have. Don't expect it to be perfect, but you may want to practice it or do a couple of takes, particularly the first time as you get familiar with it. You may want to do one and watch it the first time to get a sense of how you come across on that, and then that might give you some ideas about how you want to do it differently. But again, don't try and be perfect on them, or you're going to turn this into a much bigger project than what is necessary. Then you want to consider if you use the video option, like what I'm using here, it'll most likely be up on YouTube. Now there is a private option on YouTube, so it's not out there for everyone to find. I'm not fully sure how that works. My guess is people, if the link was shared, could still end up getting there. So if you really don't want the possibility of this being out there where other people outside of Saybrook could view it, then the podcast may be the better option. However, if you do the YouTube option, let me know whether you want it to be private, so it's not in the database for YouTube, or whether you want it to be open. The advantage of it being open is that then prospective students can come and watch these videos, and they can, by coming and watching some of these videos and seeing Saybrook Faculty, that might help with the marketing of Saybrook. So if you feel good about your lecture and you're okay with it being just out there on YouTube, I would encourage you to let me know that you're okay with it being open, and it might have some other advantages beyond this class for Saybrook. But I'm certainly happy to not list it open also. And if you really don't want it to be out there in that public domain, the podcast we can put just in My Learning, so that it's not out there in a different medium. However, the YouTube videos, we can only have about 7 to 8 minute long videos because of size, and so you'd have to chunk it up into little pieces that just don't work as well on My Learning. For transferring the course, my preferred method is Dropbox. If you haven't used Dropbox before, just let me know and I will send you an invitation to join. It's free, there's no cost to it. You do need to download a small free program onto your computer. You can do that in Mac or PC, and then basically it's just like transferring a file to a different folder. That Dropbox will create a folder option on your computer that's out there in a cloud. It will be password protected, and so that only people that are invited to it, only people that I invite, which will be other Saybrook faculty, will have access to that. But other Saybrook faculty would have access to that folder and could look at your video if they wanted to, as well as Jeff, who is helping create this course as a work study. So you just have to cut and paste or drag it to the Dropbox folder, and then I'll have access to it. I can put it up on My Learning. The other option, if you don't want to use Dropbox, if you really don't want to add the program on your computer, even though it's small, you can record the lecture podcast and put it on a CD or thumb drive and mail it to me. I can get you my mailing address, and you can just mail it to me at home, and I'll have it that way. Either way is fine, but I do prefer Dropbox because then I have it instantly, whereas if you mail it, then it'll take a few days, and we're trying to get this course together as quickly as possible. At the end, I would encourage you to consider putting a couple questions or discussion points that could be followed up on in the class forum. Again, this class will be in My Learning, and so there will be a forum for each one of the lectures as a place where students can just have opportunity to discuss their reactions and their thoughts to what happened, or to what was discussed in the lecture. So that's basically all there is to it. I hope this helps a little bit in thinking about how to do your presentations, and once again, thank you for agreeing to do this. I'm really excited that we're going to have a course at Saybrook that exposes students to so many different Saybrook faculty. It's one of the things that I often hear from students is that we have such great faculty, but they don't get the opportunity to see so many faculty present. This is an opportunity where in one class, students will be able to see quite a few different faculty presenting. Thank you.